Okay, so pocket knife doesn't always have to be open. As a matter of fact, if you open a pocket knife in a self-defense situation, you're probably going to go to jail. So try to learn to use these in an unopened way and open them if necessary. You can use them like a fist load. Okay, so we're gonna switch sides here. So from this position, this one's a little bit different. It has a finger ring. You can hold it in various ways. See, but you don't have to have a finger ring. It can be done with any pocket knife. So you're holding your knife. In this distance, more of a street scenario. You stand right there, please. You don't want to be this close to the guy standing just like this, if you can help it. If he just reaches out and touches me like that, that's the distance where you don't want to be in a parallel stance. Because whoever moves first will score. And if it's with a blade and he moved first, it's no good. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to touch you right there. Block me. See? Always late. So this is termed reflex lag. So if this is the central targeting that he's aiming for, what I do is I do this. See, so he can touch me, right? Without moving his feet, is the point. When you move your feet, we're gauging the distance on his step, which gets into another level. But basically, he's trying to touch here. He can. If I do this, he has to really lean. No, I didn't say step. That's called stepping. He has to really lean to try to get me. But that was actually, it proved my point. By me simply blading myself back, in order for him to attack me, he has to step to get me. So technically, if I'm in this range here, put your hands up, I have to be as fast as his hands are, right? But if I do a subtle change to my relationship to him, he can have very quick hands, but he has to step to get me. So go ahead. So now my reaction is not based on his hand speed. My reaction is based on his step. Okay? Anyway. So I'm bladed here. Now, the first one we were working is a straight punch to the face. When that comes in, I'm going to apply a simple parry with a head slip and an entering step. Okay? As I do that, I'm driving the hard part of the knife into his bones. A good basic rule is if you have something hard in your hands, a stick or metal of any kind, you apply that to something hard on him. He likes bone. Bone. It still works against soft tissue, but it really works against bone. If you have something sharp and you try to put it into a bone, you get stuck. If you've ever cleaned a chicken or something like that, and you get your knife stuck in the bones, in the cartilage, you see how it gets hung up. So blades tend to like flesh. Sticks and other hard objects tend to like bones. So I'll be aiming anywhere on his chest plate here. If I'm a little bit off, I'll be aiming on his rib cage here. But the one thing I can assure is that he'll feel it. And what you feel, your attention goes to that, okay? So he punches quick, and I'm inside like this. Now, from that first initial movement, as this hand's retracting back, right, obviously the next one's going to be coming. So off of this, I'm going to take a piece of the action here, which is I'm going to use this. I'm going to be hitting into these nerves, also scraping and tearing the skin as I'm controlling. Then I'm going to be hitting in a back fist motion with the bottom. I could hit anywhere. That's pretty dangerous. In Japanese, they call this kasumi. It means fog or mist or haze. It's a good knockout point. I actually had some neurosurgeons as students, and they told me that there's a thing called the keyhole. You can feel it if you push right here. It's a little hole. And they would often enter the head that way, the skull, for operations. Right behind here is a cluster of arteries. So you'll have a great effect if you hit somebody here with something hard, but you could also kill them. So if it's a situation where you don't want to kill them, maybe don't hit there. There's points behind the jaw. Japanese say yugasumi. Americans say ouch, okay? Right behind the jaw. Anywhere along the jaw line is good. Anywhere in behind the ear, side of the head. You can still hit into the, see, that was light. You'll still get a good effect right there. If he's a little bit turned or your hand's a little extended, you can also hit anywhere on the spine or the back of the head. The occipital lobe, maybe it's called? Occipital. He's taking anatomy. Occipital lobe. That's a good knockout shot right there, okay? So slowly, as he's coming in, I'm driving in right from here, right from where it's at. You don't preload it or give him any cues. This one's coming like jab real fast, pull back. Just like in like this. Slowly. Here, on the retraction of his punch, I'm pushing his arm into this. And I'm doing what they call gunting, or scissors, in the Philippines. And I'm still controlling this. If he punches me here, you see I have what they call sectoring. You can still do other stuff. So this hand is active, and I'm aware of what could happen next, okay? So from here, I kind of bring it in and I hide it, and I use my body to get this distance, and I hit him. Now from there, this bottom hand here is going to pick this up. You don't try to grab, because you lose fine motor skill when the defecation hits the ventilation. So you just use your arm. This is pushing down. Now you need to give him something to think about, which is this. I don't care if he blocks it. Boom. Then I get my leg out of the way and then pull him down. And you stay with him like that. At that point, bargaining position. You can finish it quick, or you can talk about it. Okay? So one time a little bit smoother, not too fast. So he punches, boom, in there like this. He's going to try to react off that, boom, push him down, and get him into the bargaining position. That's it. So, as a sister technique to the one I just filmed, using a closed pocket knife, you don't even need a pocket knife. You can have anything in your hand. This is actually a very good tool. This, if you don't know what it is a bottle opener. For your young kids out there, open the bottle with this side, and this is a can opener. You would stick it down like that and dig a hole into there, and one on the other side, and you can pour stuff out of cans. So anyway, this is a great weapon, and it's something that you can carry with you all the time. I might call it less lethal, because it can be lethal. But anyway, so you look at, can you see it closely? You look at the objects that make this up. You have metal, you have wood, you have a space you can use. You could possibly capture fingers in there. A sharp pointy bit right there. You know, a little scrapey part right here. So you have to use your imagination. There's many things you can do with this. So if you have this in your hands, you could do the exact same technique as before. Like if I'm holding it this way and he punches, imagine, now obviously I'm a big fan of this guy, so I don't want to hurt him. If I take this and I support it with my thumb like that, and I drive that into his bone, I'm barely pushing, but he's going back. Instead of trying to use power or strength, I'm going to hitch a ride on human psychology. We naturally move away from pain and towards pleasure. So all I have to do is provide a source of pain for him, and he wants to go away from the pain. So I just follow him with the pain, and he'll keep going back. Versus, my palm, for example, no pain. He can push against it. Now you get a tug of war, right? Muscle contest. Go ahead and push against that. He does not want to. You can also put this in the muscle tissue too. It's very effective. This thing can poke. it can also rip and tear and gouge. So, you know, you want to make nasty cuts that are hard to stitch up. It's more of a, it's not as efficient as a blade, which is more quick kill shots. This is a more nasty fight, okay? So when that comes in, I can hit into there, and on the way back, just scrape. You see this here, Lucas? I'd be scraping all along the inside of his arm and just tearing that up, zigzagging it, pushing it. Now, I could use this part here to hit into his bones. Now, as I go to push his head down, I can also put this behind his ear. See that? Or into the head. See what I'm doing here? So if I'm here, we can get into a wrestling match. Like, he can grab my leg and try to start to tackle me, right? Now you gotta know grappling. Or, stay there, you're gonna grapple me. Come close here and watch this right here. Or instead of getting into tug of war, I can take this and drive it down. Look at this raking, look at his eye. You see? I'm gonna take this off and use my thumb, but I'd be pushing dead in his eye here with this thing. Or see his ear hole, right down in there, you see? I don't care how many muscles you got or whatever, you're a human being. You're gonna respect this. So he comes in, I go 1, 2, I hit him. I could use all those different things as I'm doing this. So it's a really good tool to have. It could be even as he jabs me, I could use this part of it and just let him hit that. So he jabs. If you have jab quick, just a bunch of them, if you move around, if you've trained yourself, really touch me, if you've trained yourself to be able to do this, right, then you could easily do with the front hand, back up a little bit, and then boom, boom, boom. It's the same reaction, or if it's in the backhand, see, he just hit it. So you train with the boxing to get the timing and the reactions, and then you weapon up, and then just your boxing becomes non-boxing again. So you can use it like that way. You could hit into here. This, see, look at his face. I'm barely tapping him here. There's nerves, there's bones. You can hit in there, you can drive in there, gouge. I could be hitting, the next one comes, I can just, look, taking this one here, driving up into that arm and pushing down. If I'm pushing with my hand, he can resist me. You see, and he can start to bend his elbow and start to fight out of it, right? But if I even take the wooden part here and push, if I take this part here and push, if I take that bottom butt part of it and I push, you have it's a force multiplier, okay? You got control here. He's starting to fight to get up, but stop. See all this exposed area? Bang. You see? Bang. Take some skin on the way up. Push it down again. You see? So, using little tools like this, as you get older, you're not, you know, this force, this physical force anymore. But, you know, maybe if you're boxing, you know, he jabs and I go low and I go low belly jab, it might not do a lot to a young, strong guy. But if that's a knife, or if that's a can opener, and I do low belly jab or in the groin, or into the leg, ripping the leg, or down the leg, suddenly that made me more formidable than maybe I am just physically. So, what we like to do at War-Tec is we use the unarmed kickboxing, trapping, grappling as a base system, but then we always weapon up. In reality, if it's a bad situation, you always weapon up. Okay? That's it.